Good evening, BookTube, YouTube. This is Johnny. Time to make a video. It is March the 1st, 2019. It is 8:33 here in West Michigan. It is 70 degrees inside the hermit hut. And it's a Friday. As far as my diary, I wrote 4 pages in my March 2019 diary. I ended on page 189. So yeah, we have 305 days left in the year 2019. Today is a Friday, so first of all, I volunteer at the local library used bookstore, the Book Nook, from 10 in the morning until 1. I had one person come in today, and I forgot what, I think they bought magazines. But when I was about to leave and the next person was coming who volunteers after me, the store was getting a little bit busy. So when I was at the Book Nook today, I read what I've been reading since last week. Well, no, I got this book Monday. Today's Friday. I got this novel, Thomas Murphy, a novel by Roger Rosenblatt. The last Monday I was there, and I found this at the Book Nook, and I've been reading it. It says here about this novel. I'm really enjoying this novel. It's Thomas Murphy is an Irish poet, and he's in his 70s, and his wife has died, and he's losing his memory. So when you read the novel, he apparently, from what I can gather in reading the novel, he lived in Manhattan, New York, but also he lived or was born on an island off the coast of Ireland. From what I can gather, I think when I was reading this novel, it kind of dawned on me, it seems one time he's remembering Manhattan and New York City, and then the other time he's remembering the island is called Irishman. It says here, he conjures the islands that have shaped him: Manhattan, his lifetime home, and Irishman, off the Irish coast, where the rocks and the sea gave him poetry. So he's going back and forth in these 2 different locations, and he's remembering certain things. And he's remembering his wife who has died, and he's remembering his closest friend who has also died, named Greenberg. But then it seems on the island, his daughter, he has one daughter and a little grandson named William. And in this novel, it's very poetic. There's little paragraphs of just poetry. But then these memories of his marriage, of the people on this island, and in different episodes throughout his life. And it's very charming and very poetic, and I like the language, I like the imagery, so I'm really enjoying this. I've read 87 pages out of this little novel. You could read it probably in this novel is only 210 pages, it's little paragraphs. It's kind of funny, kind of bittersweet. I'm really enjoying this. So I read this at the Book Nook. I brought home from the Book Nook this book on CD, Sex, Drugs, and Cocoa Puffs, A Low Culture Manifesto, now with a new middle, by Chuck Klosterman. I thought when I bought this, I thought I had the book because I collect Chuck Klosterman's books, but I didn't have it. But I did have this book by him, The Visible Man by Chuck Klosterman. And then I have this book. I think this is one of his newest books. I could be wrong. This one came out, no, this came out in 2007, 6. This is 4. Chuck Klosterman 4 consists of 3 parts: things that are true, things that might be true, something that isn't true at all. And so I got that. And then this is one of the first things I found by Chuck Klosterman. It's called Fargo Rock City, a heavy metal odyssey in rural North Dakota. I think I've shown this. And then I found this one by Chuck Klosterman, Eating the Dinosaur. It says here, Chuck Klosterman has chronicled rock music, film, sports for almost 15 years. He writes like essays. He's covered extreme metal, extreme nostalgia, disposable art, disposable heroes, life on the road, life through the television, urban uncertainty, and small town weirdness. In Eating the Dinosaur, Klosterman is more entertaining and incisive than ever, whether he's dissecting the boredom of voyeurism, the reason why music fans inevitably hate their favorite band's latest album, or why we love watching can't miss superstars fail spectacularly. Klosterman remains obsessed with the relationship between expectation, reality, and living history. It's an amateur anthropology for the present tense, something that's incredibly funny. I call his books kind of like cultural studies. That's how I kind of essays, cultural studies, observation on modern life. I don't know, I just find them kind of funny. And then I found this novel by an Austrian writer, which I can't pronounce and I won't attempt. It's called The Piano Teacher, the winner of the Nobel Prize for Literature. I don't know, you can read it. It's kind of like, I don't know. There's only $1. I just got it. It looked interesting. And then I got this book, Warriors of God, Richard the Lionheart and Saladin in the Third Crusade. This is another book on the Crusades by James Reston Jr. I have another book of his on medieval history by him. And then I found this book, Ends of the Earth, an anthology of the finest writings on the Arctic. And then you go on the other side, The Ends of the Earth, an anthology of the finest writing on the Antarctica, edited by Francis Spufford. And this one, The Ends of the Earth, an anthology on the finest writing on the Arctic, edited by Elizabeth Kilbert. As you all know, I'm interested in the Arctic and the Antarctic, and it looks almost brand new. So I got that. So those are things I got at the Book Nook today. That's what I was reading. And when I got home, it was like 1:13 in the afternoon. I was feeling kind of sleepy, and so I dozed, but I've been reading this all afternoon into the evening. I got this Embracing Contemplation, Reclaiming a Christian Spiritual Practice, edited by John H. Cole and Kyle C. Strobel. I'm really enjoying this book. It's really enjoying these essays. So I've been reading that. And I also start reading for March Mammoth, Epistle to the Romans, the International Greek Testament Commentary by Richard E. Longenecker, I'm on page 265. One thing about this commentary, if you look at it, he goes and he looks at the text, he looks at it in the Greek, and he goes through the Greek, and he expounds the text. But when you come to after he goes to each of the verses and does exegesis, he looks at biblical theology. He looks at this section in Romans, which is Romans chapter 2, 1 through 16. He looks at it from a biblical theological perspective, and then he also looks at how contextualization for day, and then he applies that section to modern times, to our contemporary times. So he tries to not just explain the text to you, but he gives you a biblical theological understanding of that section in Romans chapter 2, 1 through 16. And then he applies it to a contemporary situation in the world and the church and in the Christian life. So it's kind of interesting. So tomorrow I start on chapter 2, 17 through 29. Denunciations of Jews and Jewish failures. So he goes through form and structure, setting, and then he exegetical comments, and then as he goes through there, and then we come to biblical theology. So I've been reading this in the mornings. I also got out to read another March Mammoth, and I'm on page 225 of The Path of Christianity, The First 1,000 Years by John Anthony McCulloch. So I'm kind of reading both of these things in the mornings for morning worship and devotions. Usually I read these until the noontime. And at noon I usually just switch gears and I start reading things like Thomas Murphy, or I read Embracing Contemplation. Of course, I write in my diary. I watch booktube videos. I doze. I watch the birds. I talk to my wife. As you all know, my wife leaves next week for 2 weeks. So I plan to spend time in contemplation. I'm really enjoying this book. It's really good. So yeah, writing in my diary. I don't know, well, I didn't go anywhere else today after I came home from the book Nook. Tomorrow is a Saturday. It's supposed to be an Arctic blast again, super cold, snowy, all next week. And so I just plan to read the first 1,000 years of church history, get into the Epistle of Romans, reading Richard N. Longenecker, reading about contemplation, reading about this novel, Thomas Murphy, and I got some other books I'm reading too in the afternoons and the evening hours. But I don't know, I've been really reading this Thomas Murphy novel. I'm really enjoying it. So, yeah, I'll probably do a to be read pile. I might do that tomorrow night. My wife works the next 3 nights, and then she's off for 3 weeks. So I was thinking about doing a video tomorrow night. What I have books I might to be read pile there in the living room. So yeah, like I said, I read Romans this morning, chapter 2. Down to verse 26. So yeah, I like that one verse here. It says, "In the day when God will judge the secrets of men by Jesus Christ according to my gospel." There is a day when God will judge the secrets of men. We think that we can hide things from God, but there's a day when everything will be exposed before the holiness of God in the day of judgment. And you notice here, in the day when God will judge the secrets of men by Jesus Christ according to my gospel. So Jesus Christ will be the one that will judge us. And he sees our innermost hearts. And nothing can be hid from God. So, it says, for as many have sinned without the law will perish without the law, as many as have sinned in the law will be judged by the law. For not the hearers of the law are just in the sight of God, but the doers of the law will be justified. For when Gentiles who do not have the law by nature do the things in the law, these, although not having the law, are a law unto themselves, who show the work of the law written in their hearts, their conscience also bearing witness, and between themselves and their thoughts accusing or excusing them, in the day when God will judge the secrets of men by Jesus Christ according to my gospel. So I hope you are having a good week, a good Friday, that you have a good weekend, and I'll sign off. And then I also thank you for the comments, thank you for the subscribers, and until next time, bye.